Star Wars only, I don't know what the fuck your problem is.
Jedi Fallen Order is the first single-player Star Wars game that we've had in years, and this comes from Respawn Entertainment, who made Apex Legends and Titanfall, and I'm a big fan of what they do. But in today's review, we're going to talk about Jedi Fallen Order and whether you should skip it or buy it. This game does great at immersing you in the Star Wars universe, and I said instantly when I began playing it in the first mission that it felt like an Uncharted series game, which is another favorite of mine. It's not open world, but there is enough of each planet for you to freely explore the paths that they offer. And the story is pretty simple as well. You play a former Jedi Padawan, Cal Kestis, who survived Order 66, and with the help of a former Jedi Knight Seer and Captain Grease, you go on missions and hope to rebuild the Jedi Order. Now, Cal isn't the greatest protagonist though. He's a generic good guy in a video game, but almost all the side characters feel more realistic than he does, which is good and kind of bad, because Cal may not be the great character, but when you interact with the side characters and the other characters that you explore and see in this game, it actually makes it feel more meaningful. You actually get more story and character development with the side characters than you do with Cal, but as the game goes on, you do get a little more interesting backstory to the character of Cal. People like Seer and even the second sister from the Inquisitor side get a lot of character moments in this game that felt meaningful, felt impactful. I found myself enjoying a lot of the character moments in the last half of the game specifically, when you get an unlikely ally at the close to the end of the game, and I oddly felt happy about it when it happened, and I smiled a lot at the humor that happened in the game. It's nice to have a comedic relief like Captain Grez, but still, the game's greatest strength is the story, which is always my favorite aspect of video games and movies, and the story does pull on the emotions. From time to time, you'll be surprised with the twist that this has to offer. So if you're a die-hard Star Wars fan, and I'd say mainly a prequel fan, there are a lot of moments and missions that I think you'll truly love in this game. The game incorporates a lot of prequel content, but even things from Rebels like the Inquisitors, who are the main villains of the story, and you also get some stuff from the original trilogy because this is a timeline between episodes 3 and 4. You're seeing the end of the Clone Wars and the beginning of this empire ruling the entire galaxy, and they talk about that a lot, and it makes you feel like you're actually in the Star Wars universe experiencing this transition. In terms of gameplay though, it's mostly about exploring the planets that you visit, and each planet is unique with its own set of unique creatures or villains that you fight, but there's also a lot of puzzles to solve and pathways to unlock as you level up in this game, so you can come back and explore more if you choose to. Admittedly though, some of the puzzles you need to solve or paths that you need to follow are never entirely clear. You can ask your droid friend BD1 for help, but he never really helps. He just kind of clarifies that you're trying to get to point A from point B. I know specifically I was trying to figure out one puzzle, and I was like, okay, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do here. And I asked BD, and he was like, yeah, you put the ball in the hole. And it's like, I know that, BD. How? It's just moments like that get a little annoying, but other than that, the action in this game is where all the fun is at. Lightsaber combat, in my opinion, has never been better. This game differs from The Force Unleashed. It makes you feel like the enemies offer a challenge. In The Force Unleashed, you can do whatever you wanted. You were like a Force god who could destroy anything, who could destroy everything. This game makes you feel like it takes time to learn the moves and level up your abilities before you truly become a Jedi Knight in combat, and I like that. Lightsaber abilities enhance the experience, and I also progress as time goes on. As you progress and as you learn more Force abilities, you become a better person in the combat aspect, and you can destroy enemies easier, but also there's other enemies that you can that are hard to fight and that will still be hard at the very end of the game. It's not an easy game, but it's also not overly difficult either, depending on the settings that you picked at the beginning. I personally just picked Jedi Knight the first time around, and I was happy with it. And it offered enough of a challenge for me to get my ass kicked by a few villains from time to time and go back and replay certain missions. My biggest problem with the game is that it left me wanting more. You visit many planets, but your options are limited to 5 when all is said and done, and each planet is fun and it is unique. My personal favorite is Dothamir. My least favorite is the Spider-Field Kashyyyk because I have arachnophobia, and fuck that. With that said though, exploring the new planets and even the lore is truly something special. You learn a lot about the ancient civilizations that used to be there who used the Force, which does pay off in the end, and I like that because sometimes you get hints and stories that allude to a civilization that came before or different aspects about the Force, but you never get to actually learn about it or explore it. This does have a payoff close to the end of the game that feels worth the journey that you just took to learn about this civilization. And you also explore a little bit about the morality of the Jedi Order and if they should be brought back are not, and I like that. There's talk about conflict between the light side and the dark side, not only of course against the Inquisitors, but with the characters that you explore yourself. And I do like the story aspect of this game when it gets to the side characters like that, when it explores the good and the bad, and it has side characters that actually ask you questions like, hey, do you really think we should be doing this? Do you really think we should bring back the Jedi Order? You'd even meet a certain character or two that have a unique reveal, and you just awesome moments, I guess you could say, where you're like, wow, I did not expect that to happen. So I do like that aspect of it. But the story can be completed in around 13 to 15 hours on normal difficulty, and while that's respectable, I do think that reaching the 20-hour mark would have been a lot better. I don't want them to milk everything, of course, but each hour you play is fun and worth the time. Just think that a little more content would have been nice. I don't like the fact that I personally finished this in one weekend, and I of course will go back and play this game in the future, but it's also one of those things where it's like, man, it just took a few days of sitting down and playing it, and I didn't get through it and do 5-hour run times on it, but still, you can get this done in a pretty decent amount of time, and I think some fans are going to be a little disappointed with that. But overall, I really enjoyed this game, and I would say a sequel is in order. Get it? Because Jedi Fallen Order? Never mind. But the game feels grounded in the Star Wars universe, and it's fun to customize your lightsaber and see it fit perfectly into a cutscene, no matter what color you pick or what hilt design and everything. I like the customization that goes into that. I loved fighting the Inquisitors and facing the Empire. I just wish it would have focused a little bit more on that, on facing your enemies and facing the Empire, because when you're on a certain planet and you don't entirely want to explore it, it can drag on at times because you constantly have to climb up a tree or something, or climb up rocks and run on walls and everything to explore that planet. And when you really just want to fight the enemies with your lightsaber, it can get redundant at times. And as I said earlier, there's times where you really don't know where to go or what to do, and that is some of the moments where it takes out of the immersiveness, it takes out of the exploration feel to it. But other than that, I had a great time playing this game. I think Jedi Fallen Order was a really good game, and I think EA made the right choice letting Respawn take the creative helm with this project. And if I had to give it a score, I'd give it a solid and a really, really good score of an 8 out of 10, since I think the game was fun, but it left you asking for more to do and more story to explore. And I just think the reason I give it the 8 out of 10 is just a little short at times. It's really about it. If it was a little longer, I think I might have given it 9 out of 10. But I finally felt like I was playing a game set in the Star Wars universe that wasn't a just generic game with a Star Wars skin on it like the past 2 Battlefront installments. So if you're a Star Wars fan, this is a game you should definitely buy. And that is my review for Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Like I said, I enjoyed this game. I think it's a really good game. I don't think it's a perfect game, of course, but it does its job. It does its job on building on the Star Wars experience, the lore, the world that you're in. It feels quintessential Star Wars, and I like that. And I also like that it's a single-player story game, considering EA for years has said we're not going to get that anymore from them. This, in my opinion, if you really want to see more games like this in the future, is a must-buy, because if this does well in the sales department, that just means they're going to make more of it in the future, and I would rather get these kind of Star Wars games from EA and Respawn than the Battlefront installments. But that's just my personal pick. Tell me your thoughts below about Jedi Fallen Order. Have you played it? Are you going to buy it? Are you going to skip it? Tell me why or why not, and tell me if you've enjoyed it or if you haven't. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I'll see y'all next time, and may the Force be with you always.